So I've been thinking about this one topic. I heard it on a podcast and thought, you know what I mean? I have something to comment on it, really. And it's about university. And I thought I'd talk about how I didn't go to uni and how I could have gone to uni, but I chose not to. And why I chose not to, because it kind of dawned on me that, yeah, that is a time in some people's lives that they don't know what to do. Because that's what happened to me. I didn't know whether to go to uni. I wanted to go to uni because I wanted to party and I wanted to be, live away from home and have your own place and be around people your own age and, the full experience of university. But to study, absolutely not. And for an actual reason, to get an actual job, no. And that's one of the main factors of why I didn't get a job. Didn't go to uni because there was no job at the end. That's what I thought. I didn't really know what topic to do. I studied psychology, geography and English language in college. And I got decent grades. And I got into unis. But I never thought I was that interested in anything to do a degree in it. There was no, I want to be this when I grow up. With geography, in my head I was like, what can you actually get? Psychology at the time, college had bored me out of it, really. Same with English. So I was going for geography, seeing different unis and stuff like that, and almost went the full way. But I just decided, I saw it as, there is no point in this degree if I've not got a direct job linked after it. And I didn't know what jobs there were, and weighing it up, I didn't want to go. And I believe it was the complete right decision. And let's talk about what the life looks like when everyone goes to uni and you're the only one that doesn't. I think I had 2 friends that didn't go to uni, and I didn't see them all the time. But it's a bit daunting. Everyone's going to uni. You'd get into a uni I think that other friends got into, so I'd see my mates there and everything. Yeah, I still decided not to. I decided to come into the real world and work. And the life that looks like is, all your mates aren't working. They don't understand anything of what your life is actually like. They have just gone through a red light. That is fantastic. Must be in a rush. Yeah. They don't see that every day you have to work, and all these people that go to uni, they just have to chill, if I'm honest, for the first year anyway. Not saying uni's not hard, don't get me wrong. I believe it would have been hard, but it's a completely different life, because they're just relaxing. They're, especially for the first year, like I said, they don't seem to be under too much stress. They're having a lot of fun. Whereas I'm sat here, you're a bit worried about what you're going to do, what's life actually looking like. And what I decided to do was something called a steeplejack. And, it paid well. I was away from home all the time, and that was the only issue. And you're working with some people that you don't necessarily like. And you weigh up whether it was the right decision all the time. But for me as well, another main factor was I was just sick of studying. I was just absolutely fed up of studying. I didn't want to do it anymore. I didn't want to sit down and learn like that, and I didn't want to learn in ways that made me not interested in things. When I got to college, I was fully interested in English language. I wanted to be a writer. And they bored it out of me. They beat it out of me by, rubbish lessons and not inspiring lessons, and towards how to pass this test. Same with geography. I loved geography, with nature and everything. That was the side of it I liked, the environmental side. But they always just focus on tests. Are you going to pass this test? What you need for this test? You're not actually learning. And same with psychology. I always found that you weren't learning that much about everything. It was how to pass a test. I have to give it to psychology though. It probably was the lesson that you learned most about other stuff. But then the tests were just, you know what I mean? It was like pulling teeth. They just bored you. They just made you uninspired. And that's what I didn't like about education. And I thought, well, if I am really interested in these subjects, I'll carry on reading books about it, thinking about it, watching videos about it. You know, the education doesn't have to end. It just means I don't get a certificate in it. And for me, I didn't see any value in the certificate if I was going to get one at the end of the day, because there was no job that I wanted. Sure, I could have thought, 4 years or whatever, I think it's 4 years. After the 4 years, I could have thought, oh yeah, I know what I want to do. But I just thought it was probably a safer bet just to get a job, start earning, and you can always go back to it. There was a period when I was in a car crash and I was off work for a month, and I went up to see my mate at uni, and I stayed there for a week. I actually went to some lectures, and I was close. I weren't close, but there was a hint of like, I could do this. This doesn't seem that hard. I've had a year off studying, or it might have been 2 maybe. And I slightly debated it. But again, I chose not to. One, I don't want to be in debt either. I know you don't have to, most people don't even pay it off in England anyway. But for me, it was still debt for something that I wasn't 100% sure on. And I wasn't the type of person to just do it because I didn't know what to do. That's a bit of you're making this decision when you have no idea what you want. And for me, I only think you should go to university if you know what you want. You have like a 70% idea of what you want. And you like studying, and it's for you. For me, my brain doesn't work necessarily in a classroom, in a lecture theatre. And also, I don't work well doing things that I don't want to do, and having that sort of self-desire, that desire to pick up your stuff on your own and to start learning. I knew I wouldn't do it. Well, I know I'd do it eventually when it needed to be, but I wasn't that interested in it that I wanted to actually pick the stuff up. But thankfully to my mates for the uni that I went to and visited them quite a lot, I still got that uni experience. And if I'm honest, it satisfied the taste that I wanted of uni. I got to experience a little bit of uni without having to study, without having to learn. And, I'm grateful for my friends for giving me that, because at the end of the day, they probably paid, 60 grand to have that experience. Sure, they got some out at the end of it, but most people go to uni to have the experience. And I got it for free through my mates. Thankfully, they weren't too far away. And there was a lot of them at one uni. But I'm not saying don't go to uni. My girlfriend went to uni. She sees it extremely valuable. But for someone like me, there was little parts that didn't agree with it. And if people are debating whether to go to uni or not, you've got to weigh different things up. What use does it have for you? What's its purpose? If its purpose is because you want a social life, you want to go to a social event for 4 years, I'd say you're making an error, because just stay friends with those people that are going, and you can experience it without having to fork out all that money and be bored. A lot of people drop out after a year. A lot of people don't pass and get a degree at the end because they're not truly interested in it. They don't really care about it. And that's fine. Just don't choose to do it. There are other options in the world. You can take a year. You know, me thinking now, I would have loved to travel. And I didn't have any money to travel, don't get me wrong. But I think if I did it again, I would have travelled for a year. I would have got a job, earned some money, and travelled for a year. You know, it's a perfect time to do it. And, you know, for me, it wasn't on my radar because I didn't think it was really that possible. You know, it wasn't something I realistically thought about, but I would have loved it. But I thought, you know, I don't have any money. How the hell am I going to do that? I'm going to be on my own. You know what I mean? But yeah, uni for me, I decided not to do it just because it didn't align with what I should have done. And I got this feeling. I definitely don't regret it. But, you know what I mean? If you're weighing it up, if you're thinking about it, you know, you got to think of the pros and cons, and if you don't go, you don't go. You know, life carries on, and life is still great even if you don't go to uni. And you'll have that feeling of being left behind if you still know your mates. But at the end of the day, you're doing your own thing. You're on your own path. You know, there's not just one size that fits all when it comes to living life. And remember that. But yeah, anyway, at work now, so peace.